Mary Jane. Oh, you're good. Mary Jane, good afternoon, and welcome to About That Time. We have a very exciting Thursday in store for you because we are joined by a living legend, the one and only Too Short. Too Short has been making a lot of noise. He just dropped a new album called The Pimp Tape. You know when Short is in the building, there are going to be amazing collaborations. This album delivers the goods. Collaborations with Snoop, 2 Chainz, E40, Schoolboy Q, among others. Short, thanks so much for coming through, my friend.
What's up?
Yeah, a pleasure. So obviously, we like to kick things off. We like to keep it mellow. We like to smoke some weed, do our thing, make sure that About That Time crew knows what's up. How are you doing? You enjoying yourself, my friend?
I'm good. Nothing wrong with a good joint.
Oh, you got a joint. No.
Things that I don't like blunts too much.
It's all right. It's all right. I mean, that's a preference that has to develop over time. You know, you got to preserve the vocal cords. You know what I mean?
Kind of harsh.
You got to ensure. I mean, are the vocal cords insured? Too short on the level that you're on? Do you got to insure the vocal cords?
I don't insure my vocal cords. I just learned over the years how to, stay intact.
Yeah, stay in shape.
It's easy to
not suffer injuries.
Yeah, it's just easy to like party too much or do too much of the wrong thing and your voice gets hoarse or something.
Try to avoid that.
Yeah. Sometimes after the show, you just got to shut up.
Shut the fuck up. Well, I mean, we can't shut up, though, about the new album, Pimp Tape. Tell us a little bit about the process of putting this together, your 20th studio album.
Yeah, well, I normally, over the years, I record pretty quick, and the process of making an album is never more than 2 to 3 months. But this album was a 2-year process, and it went through many phases. A friend of mine, Mr. Fab, was probably the most helpful one who was in the studio working with me as far as connecting with the features, connecting with the producers, just motivate me, man. I wasn't really motivated for this album. I wasn't really thinking about making an album at all. Not like retirement or anything, but just the studio album thing seems to be not a top priority with artists right now.
Right.
Because the market is just so singles driven.
Totally.
And the attention span is so short that we put this hard work in on these albums and people they might listen to 1 or 2 minutes of a song and go to the next, or they might only just listen to a couple of songs on the album.
And keep it moving.
So you gotta put in some work to
catch people's attention.
Exactly. So that's what I felt like I did. I felt like we put that work in.
Yeah, 100. And you're also coming off some huge smashes. You know what I mean? You've been really rattling the cage, so to speak, the last year or two. And this album is a great way to follow up. Also, you guys did a documentary around this album. Is that true?
A concert doc, yeah.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
I did a concert in Oakland, in the hometown, with a live band, and it was commemorating 30 years in the game. And basically, we put out people like Raphael Sadiq came out, a lot of E40 came out, a lot of local people that are close to us and the area loves. And we just did a great show. It was like a 2-hour concert, and I had it. I filmed it because it was such a big deal for me that I called out a camera crew, a real professional camera crew, and I filmed it. Like I called out a sound crew, and we recorded the sound, and then just to document it. And after looking back at it, I'm like, I can't just keep this to myself. I gotta share this with the world. So we doctored it up a little bit and packaged it up and just released it as a documentary called 3 Decades of Game. I didn't really feel like, people were like, let's package it, let's sell it, let's do this. And I was like, this time around, there's so much going on and so many good things happening right now. I was like, I'm just giving this one away. Yeah. I had some complaints within the crew, but I'm like, we're giving this away. And it's on YouTube right now. It's called 3 Decades of Game. And it's just, you can just see a moment that was really special to me. I just want to share it with people.
Mary Jane, make sure you go and check it. It's out there on the YouTube. And 3 Decades of Game, that's a huge accomplishment. I mean, how does that feel to be saying 3 Decades of Game? I mean, when you were starting out, could you have imagined that it would have taken you this far?
Kinda.
I like that. I like that.
The name of my very first album, they asked me what I wanted to name it, and I named it Don't Stop Rapping. And throughout my career, one of the things that keeps me going is when I have to dig within myself and create new stuff, or just stay motivated. I go back and I revisit that first album. I'm like, you remember what you said? Don't stop rapping. So, you know, I make reference to it many times on different songs over the years, and it's just my theme. Like my theme is don't stop rapping. So, I think hip hop is in a place where older artists they're pushing on. They're not like bowing out. They're not getting kicked out the game, and there is a generational gap in hip hop. You know, it's not a big deal because same thing as rock and roll or any other genre of music. You got your parents' version and you got the kids' version, and they might not agree on it. But hip hop's in a good place, though. I think our young artists are maintaining the business. They're making a lot of money. They're getting criticized a lot for some of the music content, but who am I to talk shit? They are getting criticized for.
I imagine you know what it's like to be criticized.
Yeah, I mean, people criticized me when I was coming up, but you know, they are getting their money, so fuck the critics. And I think on the other side of the spectrum are the older rappers who are 40 plus, and they're making statements. You know, like people are eating, they're surviving, they're feeding the families, they're branching off into many different business ventures and stuff, and we're looking good all the way around hip hop.
Yeah, 100%. But I do think there's something specific about where you've come from and the sound that you bring to a track that's enabled you to sort of transcend in a way a lot of other artists haven't been able to kind of just stay relevant and always add that kind of flavor that people want. What's that about? Musically,
I speak a universal language that is a very simple formula. If you can do it, it never fails you. And it's just called the funk. I got it from somewhere else. I grew up listening to James Brown, Cameo, Ohio Players, Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy Collins. I listened to this music religiously as a child and as a young adult, and it's just in me. And when it came time for me to become a recording artist, that was probably the most influential thing that happened in my life before I was given the opportunity to create music. I was given the funk. So throughout my career, I have relied on the funk as like just the foundation of what we do. So you say it's hip hop, you say it's explicit rap, is whatever the fuck you want to call it, but I just call it the funk because if you go back and take me off of all the Too Short songs, you have this great work of just funky ass music. And people who make funk music, like people before me, who came before me, have come to me and said, it's in you. I've gotten the stamp of approval, so I think that it's now on me to, and it's happening. People are sampling Too Short records, my old songs, and making big hit records out of them. And I'm giving back to the funk, We're handing it down, and the reason why I say it never fails you is because you take a funky rock and roll record or just some fucking, who made Come Together? Beatles, that's funky as fuck. That's funk, right? Those kind of songs are just, doom, 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 doom. It's just a funk.
Yeah.
It's blues, it's funk, and no matter when you hear that funky ass record, if it could have been recorded 30 years before you were born. When you hear it, you go, that's some good damn music. And that's the funk. And a lot of good music does not consist of the funk. A lot of good music, pop music, different genres of the fucking jazz or whatever, great songs, but that funk, it goes all around the planet, and as soon as you hear it, it just does something to you. So I use that as a weapon, and you can't, I think based on that alone, that is the main ingredient why you can't really get rid of people like me.
Funk is the weapon, guys, and it can't be defeated, so just open your ears and make sure you recognize.
Some good weed.
Good weed is also an important ingredient, guys. Uncut funk and very good weed. It will sustain you through many stages of reality. Now, Short, we like to make sure we let the people out there in the land of Mary Jane know what's going on with you. We take some pictures from your Instagram. You tell us the story behind them. So this first one, it seems like a street sign that I believe is Too Short Street. What's the story with this one?
Well, people tag me on stuff and send me stuff, and it's like, missing information or things that I might want to know about that. I see a picture like that. I didn't take that picture. It was sent to me, and the only question I could ask back through social media is where the fuck is this at? like who has a Too Short Street? So, somewhere out there. It's definitely not in Oakland, California, which is the one place that should have Too Short Street.
Guys, Oakland, California, stop sleeping. There needs to be a Too Short Street. Come on. Now, would you pick your street? Now, if you had to pick between a park and a street, what are you going to go for, a street or a park?
I would definitely go for the street if it was...
a good one.
Yeah, I don't want like a one-block cul-de-sac dead end.
Yeah, come on.
And then the park situation, I think once you get the ball going, you get a street, then you get a park, then you get a school.
Okay, so you gotta be patient. You gotta work in stages, right?
Exactly.
Now, is there a street in Oakland that in your head you're like, oh man, it would be if this street was Too Short Street?
They probably should rename Foothill Boulevard.
Foothill Boulevard
Too
could
Short
be
Boulevard.
rebranded Too Short Boulevard. It could be a movement.
It has a lot to do with where I am right now, and I developed a lot of what Too Short is, hanging out on Foothill.
All right, guys. Well, this could be a call to action. Foothill Boulevard could be Too Short Boulevard. I think it makes sense. We got another picture. Speaking of legends, speaking of folks who maybe deserve having streets named after them, you're chilling with Luke and Lil Jon. What's going on here?
Well, that's a moment where you just got a lot of just explicit nastiness right in this same vicinity, and just I think the one thing we all have in common, I can say, is we have made lots of music that makes booty shake. Lil Jon is the one who really turned me on to making booty shaking music. Luke, we could damn near argue that he invented the shit, or he made it the most popular first. And then the eons and eons of Lil Jon's stripper dance floor, shake that ass songs, So
endless.
I was in good company. Can't remember. I don't want to discredit the photographer, because photographers always send me bad messages about me posting pictures and not saying who took them. I'm sorry, but at the same time, that is a classic pic.
It's a classic pic. Many booties have shot.
I think I posted that. I was feeling myself one day, and I was just looking through my phone, and I was like, damn, I got a lot of pictures with like legendary artists. And I think I went on this little rampage of posting back-to-back pictures of me with like legendary people,
Yeah, I think that's a good one. And those are some real-ass legends to be proud of.
I think one time I just decided I'm going to post pictures of me with like multiple chicks and just me. It's just get in the mood. That's all.
It's a lane. Now, speaking of pictures with legends, we actually picked another one of you with a legend. I think this goes back a ways. You and the Mr. Ice Cube. What's going on in this picture?
We're in the studio recording a song that we did together called Ain't Nothing But a Word. Bitch Ain't Nothing But a Word. And it was a big record for us. We actually, that was right after he separated from NWA. He had done a solo album, and I was doing this album, Short Dogs in the House, and right after this, we went out on tour. Like the first year, we went out on tour on the NWA Straight Outta Compton tour. He quit the group, we both made albums, and then we went out on the tour together. So we've been homies for a long time.
Yeah, I can imagine that was a pretty lit tour.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, Eazy-E was my guy. And at that time, if you were friends with them, it was like people were like picking sides, like, I'm friends with E. I kind of,
You bridged the gap a bit?
I rode with Ice Cube. Like, it was a little separation there. I don't know about the love lost or anything, but at the time, they were all upset with each other. I'm like, Ice Cube was my friend, man. He was my homie from the tour. Like, we clicked more than, than I did with other people and shit. So I'm like, I'm right with my homie. But it was a good move for me.
Yeah.
Damn good move, because the tour was very successful. The songs we did together were huge, and the friendship lasted a lifetime.
Yeah, set up a foundation that lasts. Now, obviously, upon that foundation comes immense growth, comes collaboration, comes a lot of things that have brought you around the world and working with a lot of different artists. I believe this is you with the Mr. Marshmallow at a big concert here. What's going on?
Well, it's just connections they come many different ways, and just so happens that we have the same lawyer. And I remember Chris when he was, my lawyer was saying, I'm working with this kid, and he's just like, it's just blowing up. He's blowing up really, really, really fast. And he just went from like 0 to 1,000 in no time flat. I did an appearance with him. He was somewhere over by USC. It's a nice crowd. It could have been some thousands. And the next time I saw him, it was like huge just a year later. So put on a marshmallow head and make good music. I do like one thing about this guy, though. He is a producer, and he does make good music. So
I think that's a good rule.
He's not a DJ up there spinning other people's records. A lot of what he does, he plays his own records. So
yeah.
Respect.
And, a way to touch other audiences. And
the kids love Marshmello.
Kids love Marshmello.
I posted that picture, and family members like, you know him? Like, I know him, yep.
Oh, amazing. Now, this next one is a important question. What's my favorite word? Tell me a little story about this.
That was a pop-up store that... you probably could remind me of the details. It was on Melrose, and it was a nice little event. They had the food truck out there with some good food, and people were out on the streets and in the store, and we were promoting something that I can't remember right now. Could you smoke that weed with me? What was it?
Asphalt. Yeah.
Oh, it was when I did the thing with Stevie. Yeah, Asphalt. Yeah, okay, that's what it was. Did a little run of T-shirts with an Asphalt clothing line, and they put that shit on the side of the store. And I'm not sure if I took that picture, but I damn sure posted it.
What's my favorite word? It's an important question. Everyone has to ask themselves.
And, it's starting to be all the way across the board in pop culture. If you're in a room and people ask the lamest question ever, what's Too Short's favorite word? And you don't know the fucking answer, then you instantly become kind of lame. Instantly. Like, people look at you like, where the fuck have you been? Like... So that's a good thing.
Yeah, agree with that. Now,
it should be like a question on Jeopardy.
That is a good one. We're changing a lot of things. We're renaming streets. We're making up Jeopardy questions, guys. We're getting a lot of work done on today's episode of About That Time.
That's what good weed does.
That's what good weed does, guys. It gets things done. Now, this is a younger guy wearing a Too Short, a epic throwback Too Short T-shirt. What's the story with this picture?
Well, that young guy was going to, he says that was his 4th grade school picture. So, when you're going to picture day.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, I'm very conscious of what I'm wearing. In the 4th grade, he insisted on wearing a Too Short T-shirt. And then that guy later on grew up to be Slim Thug. And
wow.
From Houston, Texas. So I got that off of his Instagram. And I just thought it was a dope picture.
That's amazing. That is a dope
picture. I later saw him, and he was like, that was my 4th grade school picture. Like, for real. He might even put that in the caption when he posted it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Slim Thug, repping from day one.
Day one, 4th motherfucking grade.
4th grade, Slim Thug, important supporter. We got one more. Speaking of important supporters, here you are with, I believe, another legend.
Earl 40 Water.
It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have good homies.
That's a very recent picture, too. I think that was just a couple of weeks ago at Drake's concert. Yeah, I think so. That was the night of Drake's concert, yeah.
Have a chill moment, hang at the Drake concert.
Drake did 3 sold-out shows in Oakland. That was the 3rd night. He brought out me and E40. And, as we stand there side by side taking pictures, we probably have 100 pictures just like that. And dating all the way back to the fucking early 90s. Just, it's my homie.
Out here building this.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Well, that was our Instagram segment. Thank you for walking us through those flicks. We'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors, Candy Pens. They make wonderful vaporizers. Guys, make sure you check them out. The Ruby is a classic, small format, works nicely. Swami Select, Cannabis. They do their thing up in NorCal. Also make sure, guys, to check out the new Snoop Dogg cookbook from Crook to Cook, a collaboration with Mary Jane Books. Now, the next thing we get into short is something we call Roll the News. We take a couple headlines from around the world, and we talk about them. Obviously, a big one from the last day or two, Trump has endorsed a U.S. House prison reform bill. Now Trump is saying he's ready to get into prison reform and righting some wrongs. A lot of states are going legal with cannabis. A lot of people who've been in prison for cannabis-related crimes are getting out now. Now Trump is getting on the bandwagon saying he supports this prison reform initiative. What are your thoughts there?
That is yet to be seen by me. This is news to me. I didn't hear that story. I wonder what is the objective of the prison reform. Is it to get out the nonviolent drug offenders? Is it to get out all the people that are in there doing a lot of time for marijuana charges? Is it the reversal of the war on crime, war on drugs. that put 1.5 million people in jail when the jail population used to be like only 500,000?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Before the war on drugs? Like, what are we doing here? Because a lot of damage was done, man. A lot of damage was done. A lot of parents didn't get to raise their kids. A lot of neighborhoods and just shit just deteriorated because of taking away all these people,
Yeah, a lot of good lives were wasted behind bars.
And outside of getting addicted to drugs and not receiving help, you get criminalized for it, and you go from making one fucking mistake to just being like, you're never coming home. Like, and then, people like probably snap out of it somewhere during these jail sentences, and you're like, fuck, you gonna leave me here for like I'm here now, like, and they're like, nope, you can't come home for another 20 fucking years. So it's pretty shitty, man. I just wonder where in this problem is what in the problem is he trying to fix? Does it say? Do you know?
It seems as though the first priority is non-violent offenders who are serving long sentences, and then in general, not only looking at people who are already sentenced, but looking at ways to approach the system itself in new ways. The minimum sentencing laws that seem to have been the result that caused many of these like long sentences that are being served is something that they're looking at reforming for low-level offenders. So it seems like a good step. Look,
me personally, I think that looking at the big picture, I don't feel like they made the right choices when they said just lock them all up. I feel like you created a much bigger problem, and reintegrating all these prisoners back into society is like that's a whole thing.
Process.
Like you created some shit that literally people were breaking the law. People should have gotten in trouble. People should have went to jail. But that 20, 30 year shit, that's just, it's almost like when you're from where I'm from, somebody might get murdered. Somebody else might get a lot of time in jail. It's damn near the same thing. You lose friends, And I don't like a lot of things about Trump as a president, but maybe he'll do some, can't be all shitty,
Let's be real, though. The election happened last week. He knows that there's going to be some Democrats in power. He doesn't have sort of the kind of unchecked authority that he's had for the last couple of years. So maybe this is an indication that he understands what's coming up, and if he wants to get stuff done, he's going to have to pay attention to stuff that matters a little bit more. We have another story from tonight's installment of Roll the News. The federal government is now asking for cultivators to grow weed for them. So after the federal government having spent the last 30 years trying to stamp out everyone who grows cannabis in the world, now they are actively seeking people to grow cannabis for them. They're looking for capability statements from businesses with the capacity to produce a variety of marijuana strains and products. The firms must also be equipped with storage space for up to 5,000 kilograms of cannabis stock. So now this has literally been posted on the internet. The government is officially recruiting weed growers.
Yeah, well, are they going to let out all the family members they locked up?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It seems like first things first.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, man. You sleeping with the enemy,
Yeah, I would say.
But,
well, it's crazy times. I mean, you've seen it. California has changed a lot over
But at
the
the same time, a lot of people who were lifelong growers who positioned themselves for these moments, they were ready years ahead of time. They were, getting all the ducks in a row so that they could be eligible for that.
Yep.
And regardless of who was a criminal or who was playing on the edge of the law, whatever, you can go get that federal account now.
Yeah,
and
direct deposit.
Catch an airplane and deliver that shit to Washington, D.C.
Right to Uncle Sam, guys. You can deliver a big sack of weed to Uncle Sam himself.
I mean, it really feels good to go into, like, Oakland Airport, L.A. Airport, and just take out some weed out your pocket and put it in a bin and send it through the X-ray, and then get your weed on the other end, and they don't say shit. Shit is lovely. Yeah. I do it just because it's legal now. Like, you can keep the weed in the bag. I put the weed out in the open. It's like smelling and shit. Just
cause you can.
Damn near everybody works in the airport smoke weed anyway.
For sure. Well, and then also there's these bins where they confiscate stuff, or you have to throw stuff away. Then who gets that? Who gets what's in that bag? Not the weed.
I've thrown away weed in the airport.
It's an unfortunate consequence.
I've thrown away weed. I'm like, here comes this fucking dog. Fuck. Throw my shit in the trash.
What do you think the most you've lost in an airport incident like that is?
Well, I don't really smuggle drugs like that, so when weed was very illegal, I probably got sniffed out by the dog maybe like 4 times.
Right.
And each time I had like a small bag or like one time it was one joint. And each time it was such a small amount that the cops just like, yeah, come walk with me. You throw it away. Nice. Flush it, and then they let you go back to your flight, or keep you for a little while, make you miss your flight, and then let you go. That type of shit.
Right. That's kind of a buzzkill.
Yeah, I've been through it.
Been through it. Well, either way, it is interesting how the tables are turning. It sounds like in a lot of ways the government is now seeking the weed dealers instead of persecuting them. We have a third story on tonight's installment of Roll the News. There is a new drug called Dasuvia. It's just been approved by the FDA. It's 10 times stronger than fentanyl. Fentanyl, obviously, this street drug that is killing a lot of people. They're overdosing on it.
Yep.
Now there is a drug approved by the FDA, 10 times stronger than that. Guys, this is an intense one. Obviously, this ties back to the cannabis conversations we've been having because the FDA seems to have a very skewed attitude towards this plant. No one has ever died from cannabis. There's no such thing as a cannabis epidemic. There is a such thing as an opioid epidemic, and now you're approving drugs that are 10 times stronger than a drug that is killing people.
Well, I did a lot of drugs in the 80s, not so much in the 90s and the 2000s, but I was an 80s kind of, young kid coming of age, trying mescaline and PCP and shit that I would never fucking touch now. But, I kind of, being the weed smoking drinker, occasionally might like vibe out on some Molly or something, but I can't get with the super narcotics, man. Like those opioids. I don't even know what fentanyl is. I just know they said
fentanyl is even stronger than heroin.
They said Mac Miller had it in his system or some shit. So, I think somebody said they were talking about you kind of mix it with coke or something. You different. I don't know how the fuck you'd use it, but I really don't get this shit, man. Where we're like these fucking super ass addictive drugs, and we're just like celebrating them and like, yeah, let's just take this shit. So
while at the same time persecuting cannabis,
what the fuck could a drug stronger than heroin do for you
without just causing more of a problem than it's solving?
I mean, I thought heroin was the highest high that was out there. There's a higher high than heroin.
Apparently, the FDA just approved one that's 10 times stronger than heroin. So that you got to be pretty messed up if that's the level you need to get on. But I hope that's not the case.
All these questions have been sort of kind of drug related, and we seem to be a drug-induced society that everybody's got their little favorites and shit. And then you mad at you pissed off about this immigration shit because some people are getting away from shit they're running away from, like danger. Other people may be coming up here to bring fucking drugs and shit, but I feel like we are our own fucking problem. Like, we're like, lock this motherfucker up for selling dope, but right before that, let me get my little stash from you so I can get high, then arrest the motherfucker. Like, you're out there getting high, but you want everybody that's fucking delivering it to you to be fucking locked up and criminalized. Like, this shit is crazy, man. We like we're super high as a collective. And we got all these fucking rules and regulations on each other. Like, if people want to fucking take the 10 times stronger than fentanyl shit that just fucks your life up, open the store for the motherfuckers and let them just go in there and crash and burn. Shit, I don't know.
That's an approach for sure.
I fucking don't know. This shit's a retarded ass cat and mouse game of cocaine. Cocaine is legal at fucking nightclubs. It's legal. It sits on the table. Everybody's just partying. I don't care if you're at the white club or the fucking hood club. I don't care.
It's
Beverly
around.
Hills or Crenshaw. They up in there hitting the line, and then you get outside. Everybody's like, you're under arrest. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
It's a wild system.
Very confusing, man.
Full of hypocrisy.
Very fucking confusing.
Very confusing. Guys, chill it out. Seems like a pretty potent drug. FDA, get your head on straight. Okay, we've checked in with the world. That was Roll the News. We also like to make sure that after checking in with you and checking in with the world, we check in with the stars as well. Mm-hmm. So we do a little something we call Astrology Time. We change the lights a bit. We break out the salt crystal lamp. You know what I mean? You get into like a more spiritual modality.
Okay.
Now, tell us a little bit about your relationship with the horoscope. Did you grow up? Did you read the horoscope at all? Did anyone around you in your family?
I didn't really grow up on like horoscopes and all this stuff. It was pretty general, like what's your sign? We did that part. But I think later in life, as I started meeting a lot of people, and you started realizing that there is a little similarities in some of the characteristics, and then read a few books about numbers and planets and shit, and how this shit all adds into be science, whatever you want to call it. There is some logic to it, There is some stuff. I think it goes on many levels. If you want to just expand your brain and look at astrology as far as ancient people looked at it, it was something much more than just stars in the sky or let me guess what your characteristics are. But it's different levels to the stuff. But I dabbled in a little bit of all of it. If you want to just talk about, you a Gemini, you a freak, whatever the fuck, that shit. We can go there, whatever.
Totally.
I know a little something.
I feel you. Well, what we did is we took a look at your horoscope, and we pulled out some phrases. And you know how the horoscope can sometimes be on and off. You tell us whether you think the horoscope is on or off. Okay, so the first one, more work and less talk is your motto. Would you say the horoscope is on point about that?
Yeah, I'm not big on phone conversations or conversations that go in circles where you keep revisiting making the same point. Like we say it, it's done, it's locked in, let's go. So, yeah, I'm not really big on talking about it. Let's just do it.
Let's get into it. Okay, it sounds like the horoscope's pretty on with that one. Now, here's another one that I think is pretty interesting. Perhaps educating young adults would make a compatible career choice. Do you feel like you're educating the youth out here?
I've been doing that my entire life. I am definitely a teacher. I don't self-proclaim that in my music. I don't speak on it a lot outside of my music, but it is known that I spit a lot of wisdom. People have absorbed the gems that I give to them, and they turn around and use it in life. So I definitely have literally raised my kids,
Right.
I've been 2 Chainz said it in his song. He said, "Too Short was my father figure." Like it just happened like that.
Right. That's amazing. Okay, it sounds like another one where the horoscope has a little insight. We have a third one from your horoscope. Relieves his anxieties by eating a bucket of ice cream. Do you like ice cream, Too Short?
Well, I like root beer floats.
Root beer floats are pretty lit.
I don't do food for emotions, though.
No correlation?
I don't do the emotional food.
Just stay eating good.
Yeah, but I have a sweet tooth. I like it. But I'm like this, though. I would make a root beer float, but I'd only probably fuck with half of it.
Right.
And I just want the flavor. I want to indulge. I'm not really
You don't need to go all in.
Yeah, and I've never like.
Now, do you just like a classic root beer float, just root beer with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, or do you like
none of that extra shit? But I've never grabbed a spoon and a gallon of ice cream for any reason. I might have, when nobody was looking, in the freezer, just hit a one biter, but never like out in my lap and I'm just eating out of a big ass carton of ice cream. No,
I think that's reasonable. Okay, here's number 4 from your horoscope on tonight's installment of Astrology Time. Stays away from negativity. Are you good at keeping it positive, Too Short?
Yeah, I try to sidestep those situations. Sometimes you see them coming a mile away. I definitely like to change the subject when I see people who I don't think should be getting into it. They might be going down a negative path, and I know each of them's character, and I'm like, this is not going in the right place, and I kind of take it somewhere else just with my skills of just like knowing how to manipulate conversations. I definitely get rid of or get away from people who constantly have a negative vibe. I can't function with those people the complainers, the people who are angry at everything 15 times a day. Like what the fuck? Like, I don't even like to carry my anger from this situation to that situation. So I can be mad as fuck in this room. And then when I walk out of here, I'm not walking out of here mad at the next person I see. I'm not going, motherfuckers pissed me off. Like, it's over. I'm gonna leave it in that room, and I can just, the anger's there, but it's not for the rest of the world. So a lot of people can't do that.
No, that seems like a hard skill to really master.
Well, I guess it's Taurus the bull, man. I don't know.
Taurus the bull coming through. Just bash it down the wall if it's got to get bashed down.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Well, I feel like the horoscope was pretty insightful tonight. Astrology Time.
Outside of ice cream.
Yeah, outside of ice cream, guys. I think, the dairy, the horoscope's ability to discern your dairy preferences maybe was not as on as sometimes it is. Now, before we wrap up the show short, we like to make sure we give you an opportunity to check in with the Mary Jane Mass and let them know what they should be checking for right now, coming from you.
Well, people always assume that I'm OG, kind of like tapping out the game, not really putting out albums or, what's Too Short doing. I'm actually like very, very, very active and very involved in young artist careers, producers, up-and-coming directors. I've recorded tons of music that will be following the Pimp Tape, and a lot of visuals. Like, I'm really like into this thing now where we want to have great visuals for the songs we like and believe in. And right now, you get this, hey, he's got an album coming out. You're like, okay, he made an album. All right, holler later. But it's not like that with me. It's like, I always like have a plan. And the plan is to actually just like take Too Short into the next phase of my career, which is being a mentor, leaving my legacy behind, which I feel like I'm really working hard at right now, as trying to do things that are not just like making songs, things that will go, okay, he cared, So I'm just giving the game back, man, and I know for a fact you will be seeing a lot of me because I've been doing a lot of goddamn work, and everything's gonna be dope. So just check it out. It's for hip hop, man. We're doing this for hip hop. We're doing this for the longevity, the extension of hip hop. We're doing it for the just killing all the expiration dates that you try to put on us rappers. You're like, oh, you can't rap when you're over 40. Can't rap when you're over 50. Okay, we're gonna keep saying this shit because you don't even know what we can do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, keep on keeping on.
Well,
guys,
no idea.
There's a lot coming from Too Short. Short, thank you so much again for coming through. Mary Jane, it's been about that time. Thank you so much for checking in.